This is Metabolic Mastery, a core medical technologies podcast dedicated to advancing knowledge and practice in metabolic testing. Welcome to Metabolic Mastery, brought to you by Core Medical Technologies. I'm Dr. Mark Humbert and my co-host, Dr. Cameron Garber. And today we have got Greg Marshall. He's a longtime friend and founder of Fiture Marketing. And glad to have you with us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah, good to catch up.
I know.
It's fun to see you again.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into marketing, where you got started. And we'll dive into things.
Yeah, so I mean, I came from the health and wellness space.
Yeah.
Right. So I was a salesperson first, and then was forced to figure out how to do marketing based on a scenario that I ran into, which is I built my clientele up, but we were overly reliant on one of the gyms that provided us leads. And then we lost that lead source and was told it's because we don't know how to market, they're going to go ahead and take over our business. And that was a blessing in disguise, because what that did was it made me realize in order to sell more, I need to understand how to market and get people on the chairs, because I already knew how to sell. And then once I did that, everything became a whole lot easier, because then I controlled the entire pipeline when people came in. And now I run Fiture Marketing. We work with a bunch of different industries. I've got a team. We run advertisements for Facebook, YouTube. We build websites. We build funnels, the whole nine.
Yeah. It's been so fun to watch your career. So Greg and I met a long time ago when I was just first starting to put clinics in gym spaces and everything like that. And he was running the sales team for a fairly large team of personal trainers and things in a high-end gym.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to see like him get these wins and just that whole progression. And it's awesome to see how that's turned into your passion for sales and marketing. It's turned into like this whole business for you and everything. It's been fun.
That's what I do all day now is,
Yeah.
How do we just get more sales? I mean, at the end of the day, that's what all our clients reach out to my company for, is they're not saying, how do I just get more leads? What they really mean is, how do I get more sales?
Right.
Right. Because they don't want just more names and phone numbers. They want people who buy stuff from them.
Well, because if your marketing isn't turning into dollars in your business, then it's kind of not serving the full purpose.
Exactly.
And so you kind of have to have that whole pipeline from the marketing side of how do we let people know about us to how do we actually get them to pay us for things.
Yep.
And a lot of people do one or the other well. I would say I probably had a better handle on sales eventually because of Greg.
Yeah.
And then I struggled more with the marketing side of things on my own. And that's, again, why we use Greg.
Yeah.
Well, and that's really, forgot to tell our listeners, that's really the purpose of the conversation today is, we love talking about the science and how it can be used and what we can do to help our clients, but knowing how to market these services and get people in the doors is a really crucial component. And we're taking it from the angle of, as we talked about before on the podcast, we look at VO2 as a vital sign. We look at these values that we're measuring with the cardio coach as really important for helping people to establish healthy patterns that lead to long-term health. And so the more we can do that, the healthier we can help people get. And so getting that message out there ends up being really important. But there's kind of the, how do I do that? And I think to so many people, sales just feels like so icky, right? You hear the word and they're just all of a sudden like, they have the image of the used car salesman in their mind, and they're like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want to talk about. Before we dive into that though, I remember I was talking to you once, Greg, and you're telling me, I'd love for you to tell us about your first sale, because I think it's like watching you interact with people now and the way that you like know how to market, know how to sell, and just know how to build relationships. Really.
Yeah.
It's like so fun to watch you. And when you told me that story about your first sale, I was like, that's not the same person. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
And so I love people to hear that. So it can give a little bit of insight into like, this is a skill that anyone that can develop, even if it's, a little bit different for them.
So, and I'm assuming what you really took out of that, was the aspect of you really could develop the skill, but when you first start, everyone feels the same.
Yeah.
Everyone assumes that selling is like you came out the womb a closer and you just close their door, right? And that's, I mean, there's some people who have a head start in selling, but they don't just come out and just automatically know it. And the story about my first sale, like in a very condensed version of it, right, is um, when I would first sell people, I remember telling them, okay, this is how much it costs, and and internally, I mean, I'm panicking, right? Because I'm feeling like I'm doing something wrong by asking them to pay money, because that's a whole nother thing, right? People have their own like kind of money mindset, but talking to this person and then them giving them the card and, "Hey, it's gonna cost this much," and, like, almost panicking, saying, "Okay, now it costs this much, right?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, and are you sure you wanna" like, I'm basically helping them get out of the sale,
Yeah.
and I was so nervous and, embarrassed, and they were like, Yeah, I would like to sign up." And I did, and I remember in those early days of selling, I just always had doubt. I was always worried, like, can I actually do this? Do people actually believe me? I just feel insecure
Right.
with yourself because selling is one of those things that it draws that out of you, right?
Mhm.
Whatever insecurities you have and you go into sales, it feels like it puts a magnifying glass on it.
Mhm.
And you can interpret what everyone says to you as like personal attack or, something's wrong. I remember leaving some sales presentations early on being like, wow, I'm such a bad guy.
Mm.
I
Mm.
mean, they didn't sign up. I can't even believe I asked them to sign up. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
This is, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and you get that feeling of, and I'll never forget. I actually shared this story a couple weeks ago. This is old school, but I'll never forget how I was trained to sell, which is the big problem. Everyone thinks of the used car salesman. I remember. I'm not going to say the fool's guy's name, but I remember a very specific guy who was teaching me tactics on how to sell people that I would use because I was the student and felt so disgusted
Mm.
Mm.
doing it that I tried to quit. I told him, "I can't do this. I didn't get in to, you guys are physicians and physical therapists and stuff like that. We didn't get into this to rob people, to make them feel like there's no hope,
Mhm.
to not help them, right? We
Yeah.
didn't get into this for that. I know I didn't. So the tactics he was telling me was not, how do I do best for the customer?
Yeah.
It was, here's how to take their money
Mm.
and how to make them feel guilty enough to do it today."
Mm.
And I hated that.
Yeah.
And that's what drove what my motto is now, which is sell to help.
Yeah.
That's where this comes around full circle.
Yeah, and I love that concept of selling to help, and that helped unlock the door for me with selling my services within my clinic was getting out of my own way, like you
Yeah.
said, of my fears and insecurities, and really going back to, do I really believe that what I'm selling is going to help somebody?
Mhm.
Like, I went to all of this school. I've done all this other study outside of school to become the best clinician that I could be, or to be the best personal trainer, or whatever it is that you do. Like, I'm trying to hone my craft
Yeah.
to be able to really help people. And that's why I got into all of this in the first place, was to help people. But then when I have somebody in front of me, I think of all the reasons why they wouldn't want my help instead of all
Sure.
the ways that I can help them. And so this selling to help concept is Greg would come to our staff meetings and help do our coaching and all of those
Mhm.
things. And like, do you really believe in what you're selling? Like, will this really help somebody? I remember you asked
Yeah.
us that one time, like, will this help fix their whatever pain or problem or whatever? And it's like, yeah, it will. Well, then why would you be nervous about that?
Yeah.
Isn't that the best decision that they could make for their health? Like, well, yeah.
Yep.
So does it have to cost money so that you can stay in business? And do they know that it costs money and that's why they're here?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so. You're like, then what? What's the fear?
Yep.
And so it's switching that mindset from stopping making it about
Yeah.
me and making it more about, how can I help you?
Yep.
And my services can help you. I can be that bridge from where you are now to where you want to be. And Greg really did help me to work out that mindset, because yeah, as much as I am selling myself and my services and all of those things, I'm selling the solution to their
Yep.
problem, and that I can be part of that solution.
Well, the other thing too that, um, holds salespeople back. And we'll say salespeople, really
Everyone's a
everyone,
salesperson.
right?
Yeah.
But what holds them back is they're thinking. So, and we've discussed this too, Mark,
Yeah.
many times. Anytime you are concerned about how you're coming off, or am I saying the right stuff or whatever, that means you're not fully focused
Mm-hmm.
on solving the customer's problem.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible to be fully focused on them while simultaneously still thinking about you.
Yeah.
It's
Such a good
literally
point.
impossible. So if you feel like a quick hack, if you feel like you're not getting through to a certain customer and you even have the thought of like, am I saying the right things? Am I doing you're not fully focused. You have to be completely focused on this person has a problem. They would like to solve it. I should not be thinking about, does my hair look okay? Am I wearing the right clothes? Am I saying this in the sequence that I should be? Because that doesn't matter. You can sell people if you just completely focus on solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
Right. And so that's a quick hack for like anyone who kind of has a hold of like, well, I'm not really a good salesperson. Well, just start with not thinking about you. Think about only the customer, and a lot of that will sort itself out.
Right. Well, because so often we say that within our clinic. Oh, if people would just do what we tell them, right? If they were just compliant in the
Oh,
healthcare
totally.
world, we always say that. Oh, they're a non-compliant patient, and that's one of my biggest complaints about other clinicians is it that our patients are non-compliant,
Mhm.
or did we not do a good job at selling them on the plan of care,
Correct.
right? Or a personal trainer, same thing. Like, did we really not sell them on what is the big plan?
Yep.
Instead, we sold them on number of visits or the price, or we sold them on,
Yep.
the features of whatever we're selling versus the solution,
Yep.
and how all of these are just steps towards the solution. And so when we get in our head about the price or the this or that or
Yeah.
the other, then we're worried about how they're going to react instead of really, like you
Yep.
said, dialing into them and their needs and how all of the steps and all of those things help to solve their problem. That's when it really does bring their guard down.
Yep.
It gets you out of your own head,
Yes.
and you really can sell to help them. And then we have better compliance because that the person that you're selling really was helped. They really do understand why they're buying what they're
Yep.
buying because you were able to explain it well enough and make that connection because you made it not about you and your insecurities. You
Sure.
made it about them and their problem to solve.
Well, one of the things too that people reasons why they resist selling is because they don't want to be viewed as dishonest or manipulative, right? That's usually a big
Yeah.
objection of people who don't want to sell. And if you think about it, um, if you don't sell people what they truly need, but you just sell them what you're comfortable with, that's being dishonest.
Selfish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I think
It is.
yeah, yeah. Well, and in that process of getting to know the customer, right? Finding that solution, you're going to be asking lots of questions,
Yep.
right? You're going to like, what is really underlying your need for this thing? And then you can find out, hey, is my service or product or whatever actually what they need?
Yep.
Like, maybe it's not. And maybe I just send them to someone else. But like actually sitting there, listening to the person, putting aside your own fears and really digging to find out what do they actually need allows you to find out again, like if you don't do that, then you might sell them something that they don't need or, something lesser or yeah.
Oh, I was always surprised by my best customers, the ones that really stuck to the program
Mhm.
and really followed everything that we did were often those for whom it was the biggest stretch.
Yeah.
For the people that I could have thought when we started talking about this is how much it's going to cost and everything, and they had that initial like, okay, let me wrap my head around affording that. If I had immediately discounted it or
Yeah.
found a different plan for them, like you said, I would have been cheating them.
Yeah.
By making it cost what it costs based on what I need to make to stay in business.
Yep.
Even though it was a stretch. So our program is a $5,000 program.
Mhm.
And for some people, that's a big stretch. And it's funny how the people that stretch the most to afford that were the ones that were absolutely the most compliant.
Yeah.
And so for those that can afford it easily, some were compliant, some weren't as much. And for those that I panicked and undersold them,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't get as much benefit as they could have if they had done the full program.
Yeah.
And so I wound up, like you said, I wound up cheating them
Yeah.
by
I
not
mean,
giving them that option.
and of course it's not, you're not intentionally doing it, right? I
No,
mean,
no,
that's
no.
not the intent. And, but I think when it comes to selling, first you got to sell yourself, and you got to sell yourself the belief of whatever it is that you're really pushing them towards. Like, for example, what I like to do, even in the marketing agency world, right, is a client will ask, can I get these results for this much? Right.
Yeah.
And I'll say, no. I'll say, no, you can't.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a conversation yesterday where the guy wants to sell $100,000 worth of his next event with a budget of 2,500.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, okay, let's do the math here. I said, so in order to do that, even on your best day, if you got 10x, what would that number be? So I make them type it out. Say, so if we get a 10x on your investment, you will feel like you got shorted because you have the unrealistic expectation, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, but that's what I want to spend. I said, well, my job isn't to just accept that. My job is to tell you why you should spend more, because you can reach that number if you do it.
Yeah.
And here's how you would get it.
Right.
And he agreed. And he said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But most people would stop at like, oh, well, this is his budget. He doesn't want to spend more, versus what I like to call staying in the pocket and actually just telling them like, yeah, it's an uncomfortable conversation. Doesn't
Right.
have to be, but initially if you're not used to it, it feels uncomfortable. But did I do the customer a service by saying, you really should be spending more, a lot more than that, because this is how you're going to get to that result.
Right.
If you don't, yeah, I can sell you that, but you're not going to get to your result. And I got a sale, but you didn't get your result.
Right. And
So
so,
what good is that?
we're both going to be unsatisfied because
Yeah.
in the end, you're going to be mad at me because you didn't get the result you were looking for. And then I'm going to be upset because I kind of told you in the first place. If you're like, well, and you hem and haw about it, but then you accept that initial offer or counter offer, I
Yep.
guess, versus when you stay in the pocket and you're like, no, honestly, to get you from A to B, this is what it's going to take.
Yep.
And you sit with that and honestly be willing to say no.
Yep. But
You wind up helping them more in the end.
but there's so much. But here's the thing: if you want to develop your confidence in sales, you develop self-esteem when you push through that and you
Mhm.
prove to yourself, I can do that.
Yeah.
And the client's not mad at me,
Mm-hmm.
because most of the times we're imagining our clients are
Right.
upset, or they're just, how dare you ask, right? An interaction maybe you had with your father when you're younger, or your mom asking for something more than what you quote unquote deserve, right? These are little things that linger. You need to break out of that. The best way to do that, stay in the pocket and just look
Yeah.
at the discomfort as this is a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to feel this way.
Yeah.
If I didn't feel this way, I'm not stretching.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how you got to view it. And then when you're selling people the stuff they need to do, you need to grow yourself into that,
Mhm.
so that when you're advising them, they know someone's leading me through the process.
Right.
Because a lot of times great salespeople, they're leaders. They take control of the situation, and they know if you have the right intent, human beings can feel that.
Yeah.
They know like this, okay, I know he's asking for a whole lot more, but I know his intent is there.
Right. Well, and you're being honest with them. When you told him like, hey, look, let's do the math. You're not going to be able to be as profitable as you
Yeah.
think. Like 10x is a big return on
Yeah.
investment for anything, right? And like at 10x, you're talking $25,000, not $100,000. And so if we're 10xing a $2,500 investment, like that's pretty good return.
That's an amazing return, but we're $75,000 short.
Right. Right. But by being honest with him and showing him that you actually earned so much credibility
Yeah.
by not just telling him what he wanted to hear.
Yep.
And so I think that's one of the things that people don't realize is that selling to help people is honest selling.
Yes.
Versus sleazy sales tactics aren't honest.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you really sell to help people, it's about being like more honest, actually, like being very out there and telling people exactly where they're at,
Yep.
what the outcome you can achieve for them
Yep.
without, big promises or whatever. but being very real. And then you really are selling to help them with reality instead of just false promises.
Well, I look at it, it's our duty to sell people as much as they need to get to where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's a training program, therapy package, or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
a marketing package, right? Because like really, at the end of the day, what people want is they want to buy, but no one's giving them a good reason to do that,
Yeah.
and no one's instilled enough confidence in them that they can get what they want out of whatever they buy. And our job is to be able to show them that, show them the path, show them why they should do it. What are the risks? Because many times I look at it too, it's like people think everything is risky,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, that's most of that is myth because it's like it's really we're not talking about life or death situations here.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna get a year's worth of physical therapy. Like
Yeah.
we're not talking life or death. No one's gonna die from that, right?
Right.
But what we are talking about is don't you want to get there? Secretly, people want to get that bigger package or that bigger result or whatever. They want to get that.
Yeah.
They want you to convince them to do that because they can't convince themselves.
Right.
And that's what we're supposed to do is to show them like, this is what you really want. Let's be honest. You're really shooting for this.
Right.
So
Well,
let's
because
go
you
for
want the
that.
result of that,
Yeah.
right? You want the result that that's going to bring. Like he wanted the $100,000 in sales,
Yep.
but it's like, well, to get there, then you've got to spend more, or you won't be able to get there.
Yeah, and I think, if he looks at it from mathematics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just subtract, well, how much does it cost to do this? How much does it And you go, yeah, so if you invested more, you would make way more than if I just said, yeah, do 2,500, you get 25,000 sales, you're $75,000 short, and you don't really even get to make anything.
Right.
That's not why you got into business,
Right.
right? I
Right.
mean, you got into business to make money off of what you're doing. So when you're selling your packages, your equipment, whatever you're selling, there's an end result that these people want,
Mm-hmm.
that they can see themselves gaining,
Yeah.
and our job is to show them that it's definitely possible to do it, and sometimes will it require them to be a little out of their comfort zone for some of these things? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything worthwhile, you gotta get out of your comfort zone, because if you do the same thing, you're gonna stay in the same spot, right? This is what I just told one of the other clients. It was like, "You really need to you're getting a great return on your investment." Um, everyone's asking the question, how do I get more without discomfort? That's really what they're asking.
Yeah.
And it's, you don't. Like, right? Just same way, like, to get in better shape, you're not saying, how do I lift the same 5 pounds for the rest of my life and never feel any kind of burn while simultaneously building muscles bigger than anyone in the world?
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to
Doesn't work
happen.
out. Yeah.
The body can't, it doesn't adapt like that.
Right.
You have to give it some level of stress. And so that's what I try to communicate in every sales situation, whether it's, a product, a service, is there's an end result they're trying to get from it. And our job is to show them, take the step. Nothing is as risky as we think it is.
Mhm.
You can always get a new thing, you understand, but you can't buy the time back.
Right.
Right? And this time, one of my favorite questions to ask, because many people are trying to sell stuff like, "I do such a good job, but, um, people always tell me I gotta think about it, or I gotta wait or
Mhm.
whatever," right? One of my favorite ways to handle that is to actually ask them a question. How long have you been thinking about accomplishing this, or wanting this result, or this piece of clothing, or looking this way, or whatever that thing is, right? And they'll usually say, oh, man, I don't know, years, months, 2 years, 10 years, right?
Mhm.
And then my response is, "Okay, so you've already been thinking about it for insert however much time is in there, right?" And then we could say, "So I think we're probably done thinking about it," right? There's no more amount of think that's going to change anything at this point, so it seems like you're probably ready to take a step forward. Is that correct? And they usually will say, "Yes."
Yeah.
And that's how you eliminate, I need to think about it. Because at the end, when you're speaking with them, you can say, okay. And I like to do it in a tone of voice that's kind of like, yeah, well, all right, we already talked about it. You've been thinking about this for 10 years. Like it's not, you've been thinking about this for 10 years. So not like that's cornering them. But
Mhm.
if you're like, yeah, you've been thinking about it for 10 years, you already said you're just sick and tired of like thinking about it. You want to actually like do something. So then here's what we're going to do. and it removes it just makes no sense if you're like,
Yeah.
I need to think about this because it's like, well, what more do you need to think about?
Right.
Because you've already been thinking for 10 years. What extra data did you just collect with the last hour that you spent with me that's new that you didn't already think about the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's so good. And especially when you're talking about like a health situation, it's like your health isn't going to improve without this.
Absolutely.
Nothing else is going to improve or change. And so what else is there to think about other than what's the next step that we need to take to get started?
Well,
You
and
know?
everything is question based when you do sales. Like
Mhm. Oh,
if
that's
you
such a good point.
if
Yeah.
you ask the right questions, you will get the sale.
Mhm.
Most people think you need to like bombard them with slick and savvy messages and hey, look over here and
Right.
I got these bells and whistles, but it's actually not that. It's actually all question based. And if you ask the right questions, you can lead them to where they sell themselves.
Yeah.
And you get a natural answer of like, okay, well, this makes sense to move forward because they said it, not me.
Mhm.
Right? I'm just leading them. I'm
Right.
guiding them to like, okay, why do you want to do this? How long has it been? When did you want to accomplish this? What benefits do you think you're going to get once you get it? Et cetera, et cetera. And they're saying out loud because most people suppress what they actually want
Yeah.
because that's being, air quote, a good person, right? Is you're taught suppress all your feelings. Don't ever really think that you want. What do you need that nice house for?
Yeah.
Why you need to get a nice car? You don't need to, right? Like, so you're always sold this concept of like, whatever you want, you're not supposed to want it.
Yeah.
You should just only be grateful for what you have, right?
Yeah.
But what about the other part? What if you just want it because you want it
Mhm.
or you like it, right? What about that?
Yeah.
So these are things that you gotta like keep in mind, right? As you're doing stuff. It's like
I love it.
you at the end of the day, when it comes to asking questions and why do they want something and how long have they wanted it, people are suppressing these, and so they give you surface answers, right?
Mhm.
"Oh, well, I just want it because I just wanna be in shape," or "I just want it because I wanna make more money," or "I just want it because" insert whatever, right? No, what they really want is, "Well, I want it because I wanna impress this person,"
Yeah.
or "I wanna look good in these clothes," or "I wanna feel better about myself because my self-esteem isn't where it needs to be right now,"
Yeah.
or "I need to validate what I've done." This is really what
Yeah.
but they suppress it.
Right.
Right? So when you ask these questions, your job is to get those out and to provide the environment that it's safe to say, you know what? You want a new car? You want a new house? You want to go on a new vacation? You should, because it's not wrong to want that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We only live once. So what's the point of living small, not actually trying to live the life you want to live?
Yeah.
So that's the purpose of asking the questions and designing that environment.
So I remember having that conversation with you, years ago about drilling down to what is it that they really came in the door for,
Yep.
right? Why are they really here? And just asking that series of questions and, you know, why are you really here today? Well, I have knee pain or want to lose weight or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I get that's why you're here, but you told me that you've been dealing with this for 3 years.
Yeah.
And so I call this going 3 layers deep
Mhm.
of getting to that thing of like the first layer is like, yeah, knee pain or I want to lose weight. And that second layer is like, okay, but you've been dealing with it for years, decades, whatever. Why now?
Mhm.
And they're like, well, it's keeping me from doing this or that in my life. I wasn't able to go on my golf trip or I wasn't able to roll around on the floor with my grandkids and all of that. And it's like, okay, but still like, how does that make you feel about you
Yep.
that you can't do those things?
Mhm.
Real answer. Not always. Sometimes you have to keep asking questions. Call it. Yeah. So I feel like I'm turning into my dad the other, and I don't want that from the aisle.
Yep. Yep.
And I want to be able to walk my
Yep.
daughter down the aisle. He was in tears when he told me this. And but now once he got to that state of really owning why he's there,
Mhm.
he was ready to make any decision. And, that's that difference between manipulating somebody into the sale
Yep.
versus really helping them get out of their own way. Because all of these other fears and concerns about finances or this and that and the other, when you break it down to like, do you want to be able to walk your daughter down the aisle? That makes all of the other things not as big of a concern when it's like, yeah, I really do want that.
Well, and those are the real things we're selling here, right?
Yeah.
Your program is selling walking his daughter down the aisle, not here's your protocol to fix your knee.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so each sale is unique in the sense of what the end result is and what you're actually selling. We're not selling cups and computers and t-shirts and building your business. We're selling, hope, faith,
Right.
things that people want to accomplish. They want to feel a certain way. One of the
Right.
things that I always advise people that are selling, and initially people will have some level of resistances, but I understand why, because you're not supposed to probe this much, but using why
Mm-hmm.
after everything
Mm-hmm.
and not allowing the surface level answer go deeper and deeper. Why? Well, why is walking your daughter down the aisle so important to you? Well, because his brother died. Well, why did that impact you? Well, because I saw the pain it left on everyone else. So why do you want to avoid that? Because, and you keep going to
Yeah, you keep drilling down
over
on
and
that.
over, and then
Yeah.
eventually you get to the core of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why haven't you done something previous to this then? What's been holding you back? Well, because I didn't really believe, right? And you get to reasons why they haven't done it.
Yeah, those limiting beliefs that they have.
I don't
Yeah.
think I deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I had the money. I don't think I had the resource. I didn't think someone believed in me.
And that really, that's one of the other things you talk about a lot is resolving concerns before they bring up those
Yeah.
concerns and asking that line of questions of the whys. It brings up all of their concerns ahead of time,
Mhm.
so you can address them before they're like, well, let me just think about it, or let me talk to my wife, or let me.
Yep.
When you drill down on those whys, they're like, well, I've never wanted to admit to my wife, or I've never wanted to whatever that I was feeling this way, and so it allows you to resolve so many of those concerns ahead of time when you
Well,
really get down to the key of their fears.
and that's what selling the help is, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
you're actually helping that person strip away
Mm-hmm.
what's literally the weight of the world on their shoulders, but they've suppressed it so much
Yeah.
they haven't addressed it, and they have sold themselves that it's not there,
Mm-hmm.
but it is there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so we're actually helping. The faster way to move forward is to remove any bottlenecks,
Mm-hmm.
right? Any resistance, any brake. We want to go faster, go on the gas, but most of the times we got brake and gas at the same time,
Yeah.
or it's
Yeah.
not even on the gas, it's brake only, right? And so that's what actually selling the help means is you're, a question I get often because we work with so many different types of businesses. It's like, yeah, well, how do I sell? Yeah, selling personal training is different. It's their
Yeah.
body.
Everybody's industry is different.
Yeah, no business is different, but my business is different. Um, but I said, you know what? Okay, so let's use a machine. Let's use a table, for example, right?
Yeah.
Somebody wants to buy this table. Well, who's the person that's wanting to buy it? Well, it could be the person who's the assistant of the CEO, right? Well, okay, so why do you want to buy this table? Just because you want a table? No, what they're actually buying is they want to look dependable to their employer. They want to look like they took charge. They want to know how they're making good decisions.
Yeah.
They want to be seen at a higher level than how they're being seen now. Well, why is that important? Well, because that means potential career advancement. Well,
Mm-hmm.
why is that important? Because they make more money. Well, why is that important? Because maybe they have a kid who's disabled. Well, why is that important? Because it helps solve their problem. See what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's so we're not just selling tables. People get too caught up in like what they're selling.
Mm-hmm.
They're not selling the end result, the why, and how deep it actually can go to why someone
Totally.
purchases it.
Well, I remember when you did this, you had at one of our staff meetings, you had somebody hand you their pen
Yeah.
and you were like, you started drilling down a bunch of questions about this pen and what it meant to them in their life, what they could do with it, the thoughts that they wrote down, what those thoughts mean to them in their life, what they could accomplish with this pen,
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. And at the end, you were like, would you buy this pen for me, for what?
Yeah.
And they were like, heck yeah. I would.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
right?
Like if this pen could do all of those things for you in your life, would you buy that from me?
Yeah.
And they were like, Yeah.
What if that pen was the very thing that allowed them to write one of the most significant stories to ever be written,
Mm-hmm.
and millions of people buy that book, and because of that, they make millions of dollars, and then because of that, they get to raise a family a certain way, and because of that, people view them in a certain way, right? Do you see how far that goes?
Oh,
That's just
absolutely.
a pen.
Yeah.
But people get too focused on like the product or the
Mm-hmm.
service. We're all selling different stuff,
Right.
right? We're selling to whoever's in front of us. What is that result that they want? Because it's unique for each person, right? And in order to sell it effectively,
Mm.
we have to understand that person, right? It's that empathy selling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have to fully feel what they feel. How would they view it?
Mm-hmm.
Why would they view it that way? And then communicate in that fashion, because the fastest gap to get people to buy anything is to feel completely understood. To say
Mm-hmm.
something that they have been thinking, maybe embarrassed to say, but you say it for them. They get to save face, and internally something clicks. They go, that guy or gal gets it. They get me.
Yeah.
That's what people want is I want me. I want to be
Mm-hmm.
understood, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. There's a phrase that I often ask people that when they're looking to lose weight and they've come in and you can just see the frustration in some of the things that they've said. I'll often ask them like, do you feel like you've tried everything?
mhm,
Like you are at your wit's end on how to solve this? And they'll often say, yeah. And it's like, okay. Like, but saying that phrase, do you feel like you've tried everything? I use that because I've heard so many people tell me
oh
that.
yeah,
And so when I can say that and they're like, oh, he gets it. He knows that I really have
yep,
tried everything.
yep,
It's funny how that brings down barriers and allows me then to drill deeper into then the whys and
yep,
other things. Because once that guard is down of like, oh, he understands me, then we can talk about much more personal things than that even,
yep,
but they know that I do empathize
yep.
with their situation and that I've been there, had these conversations before.
Well, I mean, that's the key to selling. That it goes back to the selling the help, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't have to feel um, bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to feel dirty or like you're doing something wrong. You should be prideful in the sense that you get to do this. If you're selling the help,
Mhm.
you are changing the world. You're not just selling a table
Yeah.
or you're selling a pen or whatever. You're selling changing people's lives no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, it does not matter what it is, a paperclip. That could be the paperclip that saves the contract, that goes through, that changes it all,
Yeah.
right? Like that's how you need to view everything that you sell. And if you view it that way, it's also easier to sell. Because what's more inspiring? Hey, I sell paper clips or whatever, or hey, I sell, the end result of someone that you could get your next biggest contract with this thing. You could not lose your insurance policy with this thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
what's more inspiring? And you're walking around, you literally have an opportunity to change the world. It's not the product. It's not the service. It's how you sell it. It's how you demonstrate what end result they're getting.
Mhm.
Because we're all walking around buying stuff for a reason.
Mhm.
And it ain't because it's water. It ain't because it's a car. It ain't because it's sneakers. It's because it makes us feel a certain way. We want to feel something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? It's all emotion.
Right.
Oh, I just love that because I think sometimes if you think, oh, to sell, I need to become a different type of person, right?
Mm.
I got to be just like that guy. But really, it's about amplifying our own strengths and using and leading with empathy. So I remember there's this talk. So Peter Kaufman, who's the CEO of Glen gave a talk called multidisciplinary thinking, and he said like go positive and go first, right? It's the law of reciprocation. And so, to your point, what you said, people just want to feel understood. They want to feel heard. They want to feel like they belong, that they're valued, that they're respected. Like you go positive, you go first, you make someone feel that, like they will do anything. He brings up the like, you have a dog, you get home, and that dog just comes up, it's wagging its tail, it's so happy, gives you some loves. And then the dog just goes about its thing. But you're
Yep.
like, oh, I love this. I would do anything for this,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And he said, be that way with people, right? Like show them that and this isn't a service level thing, like you said,
Yep.
like
Yep.
this is being deeply invested in caring about people. And one of the other reasons, I love what you just said about the paperclip, right? It's not just paperclip. It could be the means of, securing this huge contract. And it can fundamentally change the way that you think about what you do.
Yeah.
Right? Like how often are people embarrassed of like, oh, I'm just a I'm just a supply salesman. I'm just this person. I'm just whatever. But reframing that and saying like, oh, I actually have the opportunity to make people's life better, right? To help them be more organized, to help them get the next contract. And then like, I feel like that change can shift the interaction, right? How we're feeling about things, how we're feeling about who we are. And you've told this to me before, like it's so much about understanding and managing our own psychology and insecurities, and then understanding how to like bring other people's walls down and let them feel.
Yeah. And I think if you want to sell well, a drill that will help you is you should write out your own personal core values. What matters the most to you? And then you should align your entire sales presentation to communicate that. Because if you're in congruence with your own core values, you believe in this. It's a lot easier to talk in the way you need to talk and to ask the questions in a certain way. You're just more grounded with what you're doing versus trying to just learn a new sales script, right? Or, say this at this point or anything kind of, crafty in that way. It's more about people buy the real you, right? I've got a client right now. Last year it was funny. She I just took her on just as a kind of a little side project. I don't even market this to be honest, but I just like the lady, and I thought she could be something. And she had hired coaches and whatever 5 years previous to meeting us, and we spoke. She says, "Hey, I heard you could help me sell some stuff." I said, "I can." um, and she was like, a little bit doubtful because she's like, "Well, I hired 5 coaches in the last 5 years. All I've done is spend money and not make any." And last year she had a specific goal that she wanted to sell, and she doubled it, and she couldn't believe it. And I told her, "Well, you did this." She's like, "Yeah, well, I learned how to say this, and I said, "If you want to sell well, sell congruently. Do not change yourself. Don't think you need to be something different. There's a segment of people that are going to love how you sell it. They're going to love how you do it. Don't go away from that because what happens is if you stay within that realm, you feel more congruent. Therefore, you sell easier. It comes off more naturally. It comes off like this is the real person I'm going to work with versus if you try to mold yourself into something else, right? People tell you, this is how you really should brand, or this is how you really should. It's like not, in my opinion, not really, because what that does is it creates an internal disconnect between who you are and how you're selling this character that you've become, right? And the character is dangerous and you will operate. You may not think it's doing any harm, but it's harming you in a lot of ways. And because of that, you don't sell it. Your selling feels nasty, right? Because it's not congruent with who you actually are. And it feels harder because you have to like an actor get into frame and okay, now I need to like be this
Remember the
other
questions.
right?
Yeah.
And it's just, in my opinion, that's the worst way to sell effectively long term. Can someone do it for 1 year? Absolutely. Right? Do I advise that? No. But if you can sell congruently, you also get the opportunity to feel the benefit of like, you did this. You get to build internal strength of like, you're proving to yourself, I don't need to change to sell better. I need to lean in heavier with who I am.
My favorite is when I hop off a call with somebody that, I sold them a $5,000 package or a $15,000, whatever. And they thank me.
Yeah.
And thank me for my time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I should be thanking you. And yet when you really connect with them at that emotional level, and when you really do help them, it is this like honest exchange, and it feels good for both parties of like, I've wanted to do this for so long and now I can because he helped me get there.
Yep.
And that's such a powerful thing when you become their solution instead of this thing that they bought.
They say exactly what they told you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for selling me this thing, right?
Yeah.
But most people view sales as you need to trick someone to buy something.
Right.
When really it's the opposite.
It's the opposite. Yeah. The more honest you are, the more real you are, And the more you think about them and what the solution can be for them, the more they are happy to give you their money,
Yep.
because the money isn't that, it's just transactional. The money is just how much that it costs to perform that
Yeah.
service or that good. And so the money isn't really usually their objective.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but very rarely, I would say. Because, I had one the other day where this kid came in that was really young.
Yep.
And I showed him all the things that you could do with a cardio coach.
Mm-hmm.
And so he actually came to our physical location and just kind of took him through it. And he's like, this is amazing. And then we talked price and he's like, well, I don't think I can afford that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, that's totally fine. Like when you feel like you're there, let's do it. And blah, blah, blah. And we talked about a bunch of things and he was just chewing on it. And I just kept telling him about all the benefits that it could have to his business when he's ready.
Mm-hmm.
And because sometimes people just don't have the money. So I wasn't trying to convince him. And then right before he left, he's like, you know what? My dad had this thing that went through and blah, blah, blah. He's sitting on a bunch of cash. He was telling me the other day, he's like, let me check with him. The next day he calls back and buys a device. And so like, because I focused on him and what his needs were and was okay losing the sale, because it wasn't about me selling. It was about him having the opportunity to use this device to benefit his business and his clients and all these things. Because I kept it there at what would benefit him the most, he then figured out a way to make it happen.
Yep.
And so often we sell out of our own pocket.
Yeah, selling out of your own pocket. Yep.
Yeah, that's what Greg calls that. Sometimes we put our fears of like, can they afford it? Can they? And we sell out of our own pocket, or could I even afford this?
Yep.
Right. Versus like selling the opportunity and being okay with losing the sale because it really maybe not the time or the opportunity or whatever, but being honest with them about those things. And they often will find a way if they really do need it, believe in it, want it.
There's a phrase I like to use in this scenario when someone, you could clearly see that they want it and they got the price objection. One of my favorite things to do is be as honest as humanly possible up front and say a phrase, something along the lines of this. You might think I'm trying to sell you, and I am. And let me tell you why I'm trying to sell you. I believe that the benefit that you're going to get from this based on the answers to your questions will fully get you there. And if there is any way that you can find the money, get the money, maybe have it somewhere in savings or something, like if there's absolutely any way, I think you should do it. I'll tell people that. Like if the benefit is big enough and I can sense like they do want it.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, I don't know if I can afford it. And you say, if it were me, if there was any way you can figure out how to afford this, I would do it.
Yeah.
Because the benefit that you're looking for, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the benefit.
Well, I think it's this idea of helping people see it as an investment, right? An investment in their future, an investment in their dream, an investment in their self versus just an expense. It's an expense. It's like, I feel guilty about that. Oh, is it worth it? But investment, it's like, no, I'm finally doing this for me, or I'm finally doing this for my family.
Yep.
And it's to your point, right? Like the payoff on that investment is going to be so much more than what you put in. Sometimes, in terms of real money, but also in terms of relationship depth, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I was able to, do this thing. And so I just had a lot of stress off of me. And then I showed up better as a dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or, like it can have so many knock-on effects from that decision.
Well, expenses too, oftentimes we, the only reason why we look at expenses is because it burns today, but you don't take into account how many times it burns over the future of not doing it. Right. So it's like, you can always regenerate that money. You just can't get that time back.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Well, it's like have you ever moved out of a house and done a bunch of renovations right before you moved and you were like, why didn't we do this years ago?
Yeah. I could have did this 5 years ago.
And I love this house now, like, why are we even moving? On our last house when we moved, it was like, well, now that we've done all this, why are we even moving? This is beautiful.
And it's because it's a story. I've been guilty of this myself, right? It's a story you tell yourself that like, now's not the time, or I'm not ready, or is this responsible, or whatever. And these are all questions that you got to answer, before you do the next step, right? Is
Mhm.
the only difference between the people that are like doing anything, right,
Mhm.
and not, is one person just pushed back against that thought, right, and said, well, yeah, maybe today's technically not the right day, but let me make it the right day.
Yeah.
Right? Because once again, when you're selling to people, you're showing them a solution that you have, and you don't
Mhm.
like, and this is the solution. Why would you wait? Right? You want this. This is the solution to your problem.
Yeah.
What is the benefit of waiting? Like, what's going to happen 1 year from today? That's going to be any different than today, except 12 months is gone,
Yeah.
and you haven't taken the next step to move towards a solution.
I've had people ask me that about kids even. And I'm like, you're not going to be able to afford it anymore because
Yeah.
there's no affording
Yeah.
kids. They're so expensive. And they're,
Yep.
like there's no affording it. It'll never be the right time. I'll
No.
never have enough money. I'll never have enough time, whatever. All the things that it takes to raise kids. So it's like, do you want them? And are you ready to take on that responsibility? Then now is as good a time as any
Yeah.
because it's never going to get better. And that's true with most things in our life. Like, did I have the money when we were moving out of my house to paint the walls? No more than I did 6
Yeah.
months before or a year before. And if I'd have done that, maybe I wouldn't have moved because I like
Yeah,
the house enough,
well, and but that's a great example
Yeah.
of showing that, waiting usually is not the answer.
Mm.
Most, and usually it's funny because waiting is usually positioned as being responsible
Yeah.
or intelligent or whatever, right? Like, just wait, just wait.
Yeah.
But I mean, people like this, they wait their whole life
Yeah.
to do
Oh,
something, right? And so that's,
absolutely. Well, then it becomes a bigger problem and more expensive usually
yeah,
too.
it's always more expensive.
Always.
I've never waited and had it be less expensive.
Right.
Never.
Ever.
Not one time.
No, and especially when you're talking, when we're talking about people's health and fitness,
Mhm.
with
It
the
becomes
cardio coach,
very expensive each year
super
you do not do it.
right. As expensive, I would always tell this to people with plantar fasciitis or back pain or whatever. Is like, you know, yes, buying 2 or 3 pairs of shoes to give your foot a different experience to help so you don't have this plantar fasciitis is expensive.
Yeah.
But you know what's really expensive is having plantar fasciitis surgery
Yeah.
or getting an MRI done on your foot to take a better look at it when
Yep.
we know what it is already.
Yep.
Those things are way more expensive than just investing in 3 pairs of shoes, which is expensive,
Yeah.
but way less expensive than going down the rabbit hole of all these other things when we know how to fix it right now.
Well, time is always, what people like. Anytime I hear people say like, "Yeah, I always," people are always saying anything about it, or that's like the number one objection. It's like, well, the time of the year isn't the right time to do it. And it's like, what,
Mhm.
magically 6 months from now, it's suddenly going to be the right time?
Right.
You're going to be ready to write a check for that like 6 months from now? Or why don't you just get out of the way now?
Yeah.
Start getting the results now so you can move on to the next thing.
Well, how many people do you see in the marketing world where they're like, I don't know if I can afford that now, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not marketing, then you're not increasing your sales. So
Yeah.
why are you going to be able to afford it
Yeah.
6 months from now?
What event do we believe is going to happen between now and 6 months
Right.
that is suddenly going to, because here's the other thing. It's more of what you're, see, if you're not willing to spend this money now, what you're also doing is, it's like, when people say, why don't these mega rich athletes or people just donate more or whatever? Well, are you personally donating 10 or 15% of your money to
Yeah.
anything right now?
Yeah.
Well, why not? Well, because, I don't have it or I can't afford it. It's like, so you think that somehow you're going to write a check for $1 million when you get that amount, you're just going to be okay to write it, but you can't write it now. You can't write 10% of your money now.
Yeah.
So you think magically that habit's going to change when you have a whole lot more? No, because it's how you're thinking,
Right.
right? Versus you got to build into that.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of the whole time, and the timing's right, not right, and this and that. That's more just discomfort.
Hmm.
Really what they're saying is, I am uncomfortable right now. taking the next action.
Mm.
And so what sounds responsible is now is not the time to do it. Let's revisit this in 6 months or a year or 2 years or never,
Mhm.
right? When really it's just a matter of I need to make as a salesperson, I need to make them feel confident enough that we're going to go
Yeah.
through this together.
So what question would you ask then? So you talked about question-based selling.
Mhm.
What question would you ask somebody like that helps point that out to them, that their real concern is something else and not, "I need to wait"?
Well, I mean, the first question would be, does this decision make you feel uncomfortable?
So I love that
That's a great question. That's a fantastic question.
So I love that you call that out though. And as that was a leading question because I knew that you were going to say that. Because that often is what you like to do
Yeah.
is point out like what's the emotion they're feeling
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Right?
So, like, does this make you feel uncomfortable? Well, yes. Now it leads me right into, well, why does it make you feel uncomfortable?
Mm.
Well, because the last time I had to spend this amount of money, this is what happened.
Mm.
Well, why did that happen?
Ooh.
And they
And
go
now you
into it.
just got to one of their big objections,
Yep.
right? Like I've failed before. Why am I not going to fail this?
Well, and this is back to the lady that doing the sales training for.
Yeah.
You know, she was concerned, like, yeah, I don't know. I've tried these types of things that haven't worked. Well, why?
Mm.
What happened? Was it right? And we
Yeah.
keep going into it. And then you have to make a bold statement, right? You say, do you believe that I am setting you up for that path? Do I match the characteristics of the last people you've worked with? Right?
Yeah.
So you're because then now they have to make a real decision. Either say you're a liar
Yeah.
or no, I don't think that. Okay. So if you don't feel like that now, I can assure you, you won't feel like that in the future because this is what we're going to be doing. And this is how it's different.
Mm.
So once you get that key objection or obstacle or roadblock, and these are valid. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
people run into this, and it's not like discounting. Like you should just never feel like you should always feel positive and confident about everything. That's not what it's about. It's more of just uncovering. Like, okay, you got burnt once, you don't
Right.
want to get burnt again.
Yeah. Well, past failures is a big, especially in the health and fitness industry. Like that's a big objection that a lot of people have. Well, in business too, is past failures.
Yeah.
I would probably say in just about any kind of sales situation, past failures is a big one because they don't want to get burned again.
Yep.
In health and fitness, like how many times have people tried to get in shape or tried to lose weight? And they're kind of in their head thinking, well, the common denominator is me. So I'm going to fail again because I failed all these other times.
Well, the other thing is if you run into, I need to talk to my spouse a lot or my wife or whatever, what they're really saying is my spouse, the objection really is my spouse has already heard this song and dance before. And then I would have to not only be a failure to me, but another dumb idea that Greg decided to do to my wife, right? Or like, that's
absolutely.
usually the objection of let me speak to my spouse is it's I've done something like this before. I've even made a decision without him or her before, and it didn't go very well. And so because of that, I need to go talk to her,
Yeah.
right? But the other key thing about selling is you must remove risk, perceived risk. Like if you don't do that, they won't act. So if you were to say like, what are you concerned about? And let's say you get to that, right? Well, the last 3 times I was going to do this, all 3 of them lost money or all 3 of them didn't work out, right? You would say, okay, that's fair. So here's what we're going to do. This is something that you want to do. Yes, this is something that you would like to move forward. You could see the value in it. In a perfect world, that's another phrase I love. In a perfect world, does this seem like this works exactly what you're looking for? Yes, it does. Okay, so this is the solution. So what if I basically just say, if you get set up and you feel like this is good, and you can obviously afford this, and it fits within your budget. And I say that just because like they usually can, but they might use as I say, if it doesn't work out, I'll just give you a full refund, right? And you say, and that's how strong I believe this solution will work for you. If it don't work out, I'll just give you a full refund, no risk. You literally have no risk. And then what that does is it gives them an opportunity to go, I really do want this, and there's a way out. If you always show the person there's a way out, you will get higher yeses.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people just don't do it because remember, we're all playing stories in our head
Oh, yeah.
about like how this
Mm.
terrible situation is gonna, if I spend this money, this is then I'm gonna lose everything, and then
Yeah.
it'll never work again. Or like
Right.
there's all these crazy. So what if I said,
The catastrophization.
yeah?
Yeah.
So what if we just do the opposite? What if we just say if it doesn't work out, and after 30 days, 60 days, don't work, we just get rid of it. You don't have to
Yep.
imagine your house going under.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up. So a lot of people would be like, "What's the warranty on this?"
Sure.
When they're buying the cardio coach, and really probably what that question is not like,
What are the words in the warranty?
what's the warranty policy? It's probably more of, what if this all doesn't work? You
So
know what I mean? Like that's probably the real concern there.
how I would respond to that,
Yeah.
what's the warranty on this, is I would immediately go, what part about this decision is making you feel uncomfortable?
Mm. Yeah.
I would just go right to that.
Yeah.
So instead of explaining the warranty or, if it breaks, blah, 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 I don't even give an answer. What part of this decision is making you feel uncomfortable? And then they'll say, well, what if in 3 years this happens? Or, yeah, well,
We'll take care of it. Yeah.
it's right here. It's written down. We'll take care of it. And then what about this? So what you're doing is when customers feel vulnerable in that stage, like they're basically saying like, I'm ready to buy, but one last thing, what if
Mhm.
this doesn't work out? You want to not skip past that. Well, the warranty says this happens. And although you're telling them what the warranty says, you're actually skipping what matters the most, which
Right.
is please help me just feel safer
Right.
before I move forward.
So you're answering the question, but you're skipping over the emotion
Bingo.
that they're feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you go into it and say, what part of this makes you feel uncomfortable? Or,
Mm.
what are you
Mm.
concerned about? Well, I'm just concerned that if I do this, I do that, I do that. And then they feel heard. Now they know,
Mhm.
So then when you respond back, okay, I mean, those are valid concerns.
Yeah.
And here's how we can solve them.
Mm.
So now everyone wins because you gave them, this is the warranty, and they felt heard,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so now they can go into the fun part of doing the deal. Let me get my results.
Yeah.
Let's sign a contract so
Yeah.
I can start getting my results. And that's what you ultimately want them to do is you never want to get them to sign without them feeling excited about the signing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Never. So you have to always address that right before, like, I think some sales trainers may say like, you shouldn't do this, but I like to, even if I negotiate on a price or anything, right?
Mhm.
I like to double and triple confirm that they feel good. For example, if it's like, let's say we negotiate a price of whatever they needed to do, right? In this case, it was training. So like instead of doing 5 days, we did 4 or 3 times a week, right? We didn't discount the price. We just gave them a different offering. But when they choose it, I like to say, now, do you feel good about this?
Mm.
And I'll purposely interrupt them for the answer. Do you feel good about it? Like, I mean, like good, good, not like kind of good.
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, I feel good about this. Are you sure? And they're like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
I love it.
Because what that does is it demonstrates you have the empathy to be like, I really do want you to have a good experience, and I do believe in what I'm selling you.
Mhm.
So,
And it builds their confidence because you gave them an out. You kinda gave them that sale and then took it away.
yep,
Like, "You don't have to do this. Like, do you really want this? Do you feel
yep,
good about this?" And it allows them to reflect on that feeling of like, "Yeah, I do feel good
yep.
about this." Yeah.
And I
I
like
like
to
that a lot.
I like to use phrases like, you know, like one of my phrases I like to use. I don't want to do business with anyone who doesn't want to do business with me.
Mhm.
So I don't lock in anything.
Mm.
It's just straight up like,
Yeah.
and people respect that. The other thing that I like to say is like, um, I never want to sell you something you don't actually want to do.
Mm.
Never. So if you don't really want to do this, I just want to know. Like, so you 100% want to move forward. I like to really dig into that
Mm.
because what that does is it makes the sales stick and it makes the person feel taken care of. It's a form of customer service while you're selling because what that communicates is I'm not in the business of like transacting.
Mhm.
I'm in the business of relationship, right? Your relationship is more valuable to me
Yeah.
than the money you're going to pay me.
Right. Well, because and just from a strictly business standpoint, if you do establish that relationship, they're more likely to give you money in the future
Yep.
too. But also they have friends and
Yep.
family and all those other things. So the more you sell to help and really care about that person and sell them in a non-sleazy way,
Mm-hmm.
the more likely they are to benefit your business as
Yep.
well. They'll be a better customer, they'll bring in more of their friends and family, and they'll be a repeat customer.
Yep. And you will personally feel good about it
Yeah.
because you're fulfilling kind of your mission of the result and the solutions you're trying to sell
Yeah.
and the message you're trying to get out there. And that matters because guess what? The next appointment you go into, you feel good about what you're doing. You're
Mhm.
building your sales self-esteem, which is, you close the sale, you feel good. I'm helping these people out. Now I'm sending to the next person. I can't wait. And that builds momentum. That builds sales momentum,
Yeah.
right? Because you're sold, you're bought in, the clients are bought in,
Mhm.
and then you have more options. And then people typically, once someone buys from you once, like here's something funny that I've noticed in my past. Oftentimes, the hardest sales are the people who spend the most money with me.
Mm.
Because what happens is they know they're a tough sale, and the indicator is they're hard to sell. That means the reason why they're hard to sell, by the way, is because they're a committed person.
Mm.
The more committed a person is, the harder it is to sell them
Mm.
because they know once I make this decision, I'm committed to it. I'm not getting out of it
Yeah.
because that's not
Mm.
who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
So the
interesting.
hardest sales are usually the most committed people. And what I find is once they buy often, a lot. They seek you out
Mhm.
to buy more stuff.
Right.
They send you more people. Hey, I've got someone I think you should talk with.
Mhm.
So what you initially don't like about it, this is such a hard sell. Like, why can't they just make a decision? Is exactly what you'll love about it
Yeah.
long term.
Because you become their person.
Yeah.
You proved yourself to them and you become their person. I'm thinking about that. A lot of my easiest sales. And I'm like, yeah, they've been some of my worst clients long term
Yeah.
because they did it more flippantly. They weren't really in it to win it. And and so in the end, that's on me as a salesperson.
Yep.
I didn't do a very good job selling them as they didn't fully understand all the elements of the program and what we were really doing. I remember this one um in our program that she bought really easily, and it was a friend, kind of like a friend of a friend situation. And so she was already bought in because of other people's results and because she's heard me talk about it on social media and all this stuff. And the sale was super easy. And I went, oh my God, that was awesome.
Yep.
And then she kind of stopped doing the program. And a couple months later, when I finally was able to get a hold of her, she's like, oh, it just wasn't what I expected. And it
Yeah.
wasn't this and that. And I was like, that was on me because the sale was so easy.
Yep.
I didn't sell her well.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? So I
I know
didn't
exactly.
take the steps to really help her buy into the plan of care.
Yep.
And so that's on me. I really believe that a lot of the time when we have non-compliant patients or
Yep.
non-compliant clients, it's usually not always on them, sometimes,
Yep.
but a lot of the time it's because I didn't do my job selling them well enough to really get them to buy in
Yeah.
on the whole thing, on what we're really trying to do with it.
The price and the offering
Mm-hmm.
really is the smallest part of the sale.
No, big time.
It's
Yeah.
what you really should be selling is all the other stuff.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, can you afford this and you want it and like it? Yeah, great. But let's really talk about the results that you need to
Mm-hmm.
get,
Yep.
right? Like it should be an afterthought. A lot of times, people who struggle with getting the sales,
Yeah.
they live too long and are too preoccupied with the talk of money,
Right.
right? Like they're too preoccupied about it. Like they do this great job of getting people excited, and then when it's time to ask for the money, their demeanor changes.
Yeah.
And then when their demeanor changes, they say it costs this much. And then it's like, and then they just stick on it, like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. And there's no kind of like, it costs this much. Okay, you feel good about it? 100% good? Okay. And then moving
Move
to the
on.
next step
Yeah.
of passing through the sale, basically like, okay, so now let's get to the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the results that you're going to get. Let's talk about what your next steps are. Let's talk about what we can envision. That's like an afterthought,
Right.
right?
Well, and I think the price wars in selling is always funny because like the price is what it is with most things. And so there's only so much wiggle you have in the price and all of that. Really, it's selling them on the other areas that they need to commit to. In a healthcare setting, it's getting them to commit to the time and the effort and the other things. So really selling them on that investment, because the financial investment is transactional. Honestly, for most people, it just is what it is. And when you get past the other objections and you get them to buy in on the other investments that they're going to have to make, like, hey, so this isn't just like, I'm going to give you this pill and you'll magically get better. This is, you're going to have to come in, these appointments, you're going to have to do this and that and the other. Is that okay with you? Are you, why or why not? And drilling down into, does this really fit your life and lifestyle and expectations? And if you don't do that, then they really aren't as bought in.
Yeah. And the other thing too, you could help with selling is you got to have a vision for people, right? You also have to understand some people have a hard time making decisions, right? Like they want to do stuff and they can see all this, how it can benefit them, but they still need someone to have a vision, right? And so sometimes using language like, let's do this. Here's what I would like to see in the next 12 months. Here's where I see you in the next, and try to get buy-in from them, right? Because what that does is you're providing leadership in the sales process where oftentimes people do want to buy something, but they're not being led to buy it. I mean, even with my sales team, I've communicated with them several times where I'm like, well, have we asked them to do this? Have we told them what we think we should do? And it's, well, not usually, the tap dance, right? Not really, kinda, it's like, no, we didn't. Because if you did, you would say, yes, I said this. And here was their response.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of training up one of the guys. And I said, I called out to all of our existing customers, you really should do this. We should do. And they're like, how did you get that guy to spend more money with us when I thought he was already like capped out?
Yeah.
And I said, well, because if we're actually selling our customers what the full need, not what we're personally comfortable selling, the full need is this guy needs all this based on his vision. If he's trying to scale to $5 and $10 million a year, he ain't doing that with just one ad and a landing page.
Well,
that ain't happening. Like you got to have videos and landing pages and different ads, and your website needs to be tight. Your sales process needs to be tight. Your follow-up process, like those are all the things that he should be buying, because that's what's going to get him there.
Right. Well, in the end, like when I think about that with our full program, like everybody that walks through the door could benefit from our full program. Right. It's probably same thing with you. Like every customer that walks in your door could benefit from everything that you offer. They may not be ready for all of it, but they really could in the end. Like their business is going to need that at some point in time. So why not give them everything that they're going to need? And so, in the end, you are selling to help them because eventually their business will grow to where they need that. Or if they don't have that, they're actually losing out on potential revenue or opportunities or connections with new customers.
Well, and you provide them, and this is where the vision comes. You provide them with, if you kind of know where they're at, you say, okay, here's where we'll start you, but here's where we want to get to. Right. So one of the things I like to tell, especially with people with ads, right? Yeah, how much should I spend? Right. That's always the question. How much should I spend? And once again, it's, I don't want to spend a lot because I'm afraid.
I love your answer for this. I think I know what you're going to say.
But I'm just going to say, well, there's multiple different answers.
As much as humanly possible is what you've said to me before.
So,
but
here, and this is exactly how I would get there. I would say, we're going to start here. And then once it works, what you should be thinking about is how much can I possibly spend on this until it stops working? That's how much you should spend. And that answer is the truth. Right. But here's the caveat to that. I said, what I need to do is build up your marketing muscle Because if I put 315 pounds on that bench press and you haven't bench pressed in 20 years or never, you're gonna get hurt. And it's gonna feel very uncomfortable.
Right.
And you're not gonna like it, and then guess what? You'll never work out again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build up your muscle. We're gonna start you off with a very low ad spend. We're not gonna expect huge results from this low ad spend because that's not the purpose of this ad spend. The purpose of this ad spend is for you to see that your business is not going under spending $5 a day.
Hmm.
You can survive that.
Right.
And then we go to 10 and then 20 and then 30 and then we keep growing it, right? So that's what I like to really educate and provide a vision.
Mm.
So when you're selling people, they know here's where we can start, but here's ultimately where we need to be.
Mm.
Right? Because the vision also helps them say yes today. Because if you give them a vision, you're asking for a micro commitment, not a macro commitment. So then it's like, well, you're really supposed to be here, but let's just start here. It almost makes it sound like we got to do something. We can't just, what are we going to do? Just stay still
Yeah.
and do nothing? Because that's not going to get us anything.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. If you want a 100% guaranteed result, I can tell you right now, do nothing. There's your guarantee, right? But if you do want more result, you got to do something.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Because, maybe they really aren't ready for the full thing, but eventually we can help you get there.
Yep.
Let's help you take the right steps now and build into the full program or the full thing. Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Well, this has been an awesome conversation. It's funny. It's been a while since we've sat down with Greg, and I just always I'm like, oh, you know what? I should do this different. And you know what? Like, this is a thought that I should change. Like, I just always feel like I'm like, yeah, I can do anything after I talk to Greg. Like, it's so great. But it's because you care so much, right? Like,
and that is selling to help. That, like, somebody that sells to help, when you have interactions with them, you feel better about your day, your life, your world, because they've helped you to see more clearly the path in front of you.
Oh yeah.
And
how many times did I come up, from talking to Greg and be like, oh, I was like going and kind of feeling glum or whatever. And then I'm like, oh man, like this, and I think we can do this. And,
yeah, it's awesome.
And so
that reminds me of my client I had when I was training him. I had a client that used to tell me all the time, he was at 9% body fat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like a real go-getter. He wanted to hit 7. And so he was very hard on himself all the time. But we started at 14%. So we got him on that, so we got good progress, right? But he told me one day, this is like a Friday afternoon, like before I left, and it's funny because it's always stuck with me. He says, Greg, I don't know if I ever will get to that 7%. But you sure do make me feel like I will get there, and it's worth trying to do it. And he eventually did get to 7%.
Yeah.
It wasn't for very long because it's tough to stay at 7%.
Yeah.
But he reached it, right?
Yeah.
And then now I've seen him, and he's changed his goals, and he said, now he's satisfied, right? Like, I just want to see what it looked like at 7%. But then he realized it's not very healthy to stay at that lean.
It's hard to do. Yeah.
And so he's put on more muscle, and he looks healthier now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, he wanted a goal, we got him there. But I always took that to show the importance, though, of you have to have a vision that gets people excited to stay on track. Because if they're not excited, they will not stay on track, right? I'm always anti the phrase like I'm a realist or realism, because my objection to that is like, well, how real is it to sit in a bunch of chairs in the sky? How real was that until an airplane was created? That wasn't real.
Yeah.
Right? Someone had to think it is possible to do it. I always use examples like that because I'm like,
oh, that chair's in the sky.
if you think about, what's real, it's like, did you ever think you could FaceTime someone in another country? Right? With your phone, you can see their face and their background. I still don't know how it works, but you can do it, right? But if we were being real, we would still be riding horses and living in tents.
Right. Well, your math teacher who says you'll never be able to carry your calculator with you everywhere you go. And
now
it's
look at us.
Yeah, I can carry the entire world's body of knowledge with me everywhere.
ChatGPT, who's smarter than anything.
Yeah.
Right? We got AI that can calculate anytime you want to ask it a question or do something. So that's why I always look at it as having a realist mentality. It can serve you in some ways, but it can also limit you in others. And in sales, you don't want to have a realist mentality. You want to have an optimistic and visionary mentality going in because you don't know what's possible.
Mm.
We all think we know what's possible, but you don't because
Right.
even the fact that I'm in the business that I'm in, that's not what I thought I was going to be doing
Yeah.
12
Right.
years ago. I did not think that,
Yeah.
right? But it's because you keep moving, you keep knowing different things can happen, different things can change, scenarios change. It's not just real. It's like, well, I guess I'll just do this, and this is what I'll do for the rest of my life because that's not real,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
So that's my thought on how a salespeople should interact.
Mm.
You should always be having people believe that something more is possible because it is possible, not because
Mm.
you're just falsifying something or coming
Yeah.
up with fake energy. Is no, it is literally possible.
Yeah. And helping them see that
You know what I mean?
vision. Oh yeah.
And we're gonna do it together,
Yeah.
and we're gonna figure this out together, and we're gonna
Love it.
go down this path. And I think that's what
Mm.
that's just the feedback that I've always gotten from people when they talk to me is I've been told before, like, I remember when I was younger, I used to not understand what it meant, but, like, I'm starting to get it. But when I was younger, I used to get told people all the time, like, um, and it would make me feel funny. This is one of my insecurities growing up was like, "Man, do I deserve that kind of compliment?" But I'd have people tell me like, "When I'm around you, I'm just motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just wanna do more. I wanna be better." And there's someone in my mind that I'm thinking of that I remember it shocked me
Mm.
when they said that because I was like they were doing this exercise, I never told them to exercise. I never told them to try to improve themselves. But they're saying, "Yeah, I'm doing all these things because you make me wanna do more." And I'm thinking like, "What am I doing
Yeah.
that makes you want to do that?" I didn't get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But over time and interactions, I've started to kinda grasp, like, what they're saying or, like, what that means. And, like, the other day I had someone, a friend of mine, um, we're sitting at lunch, and he didn't know how to say this to me, but because this is rare, especially I think as men
Mm-hmm.
to say to each other, but he says, "I just wanna let you know I really look up to you, and will you be my mentor?"
Mm.
And I remember thinking, like I told him, I was like, kinda like, "Whoa, yeah." I'm like, "I'm flattered. I mean, we're friends. I didn't know you viewed me that way."
Mm-hmm.
So I was just, so you don't know the impact that you're having with people by selling the help and just trying to get people pumped up and excited.
Right.
There's a value in that.
Well, I think that has become just your natural who you are versus a thing you're trying to do. That selling to help is just part of who you are. And so you're helping sell people on their own life and lifestyle and their own happiness
Mhm.
because that's just become such a part of who you are and you build people into happy people. So I can 100% endorse you, but
I
that's not
appreciate
necessarily
that.
the purpose of what we're here for today, but it's been such a pleasure to talk with you. And
Absolutely.
like I said, I do feel built up. If somebody did want to connect with
Mhm.
you outside of this podcast, how should they reach out to you, Greg?
I mean, you can find me on Instagram, Motivation GM. Or you could go to my company website. All those notifications go straight to me at fituremarketing.com. So FITURE marketing.com. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to send a direct message or, go to our website, fill out the form. I'll talk to anybody. Like
Yeah.
I'm just, yeah, however I can help.
Yeah. I just, that wasn't the point necessarily was to have Greg come on and get him a bunch of new clients. At the same time, I think you really can help
Mhm.
people as a business mentor like you have been for us, as well as sales coach and marketing coach and all of those things. But it's really more of that attitude that you have of just helping people by helping them get out of their own way so they
Mhm.
can see success in their life. That's why I wanted to have you on. Is I think that
I
is just such
appreciate it.
a engaging thing and such a what's the word? It just spreads like wildfire as other people get that bug from you. So
Well, thank you for the
infectious.
compliment. Try to work hard at just getting better every day.
Wow, that's awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. As always, remember, if you want more content like this, like, follow, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.
Ready to take your metabolic testing to the next level? Visit core.com to learn more about purchasing our metabolic test equipment.